Good morning. Welcome to another Theory Thursday. Today we are going over the capo. What is it? How does it work? Why does it work? And how do you use it on guitar? It's an extremely helpful tool if you know what you're doing with it and know the reason why it works. Okay, so that's what we're going over today. I got my Timex Easy Reader on today. Gold band, and I got my gray tweed tie on today. Ooh, very pretty. So that's what we got going on today. As always, like and subscribe if you've been enjoying these. I love making them. If you want to stay in the loop, hit that subscribe button, and the bell, I think, is what lets you know when new videos are coming out. So without further ado, capos. What the heck are they? Let's go. Hello, welcome back to the whiteboard. Today we are talking about the capo. Why does it work? How does it work? And why do we use it on guitar? So, this little tool right here, you can see, and a lot of guitars will have it. You can actually just put it on the fretboard, covering the strings, right? And play regular chords that they would already know without having to play bar chords, without playing, quote unquote non-cowboy chords, right? Open chords. So a tool like this will let you, if you only want to learn your four chords, like learn G, D, E minor, and C, right? All open chords, none of them need a bar. And you can put this anywhere on the neck and just take those chords and play them up the neck. Okay? Now, why does that work? How does it work? Let's talk about it. First of all, I have a little diagram here. Okay, let's talk about how it works first. If you saw my transposition video, that's what the capo does, is it transposes your instrument. Okay? Let's look at the strings on the guitar. What do we have here? So what's the relationship between these strings? E to A is a perfect fourth. Okay? A to D is the same. Perfect fourth. D to G, perfect fourth. G to B is where it gets weird. Major third, and then B to E is another perfect fourth. Okay, those are the intervals between the strings. Okay, now if you watch the transposition video, you know that if you were to put a finger here, right, and a finger here, you get a C and an F. Now, you're changing the notes, but you're not changing the relationship between the notes, right? A C and an F is a perfect fourth. Okay, so you can take these relationships and these intervals and move them up. So just to point it out, here's a G chord, right? A regular cowboy chord, G chord. Now, what are we playing when we play this? Well, here's an E. This would be an F, an F sharp, and a G. Okay? A string, B flat, B. This is an open string. You have a D. Open string is a G. Open string is a B. And then we're back to our E string, F, F sharp to G. Okay? Now, if we know our chord voicings and how chords are built, I know that a G chord is a G, a B, and a D. Okay? That's just a typical G triad, which is what we're playing here. So let's count these out. What are we actually playing here? We're playing the root, we're playing the third, we're playing the fifth, the root again, the third, and the root again. Okay? A typical triad. Of course, we have 6 strings here, so it's not just GBD, it's GBD, GBG. It's still just a regular G triad. No matter how many times we repeat any of these notes, it's just a G triad, okay? So why does it work when you put a capo down here? Okay, let's just say I put a capo on the 2nd fret. And all of a sudden, I can play the same chord up here on the 5th fret. What is that? It's still a G shape, but I moved the whole thing up 2 frets, right? I start on the 3rd fret, move it up to the 5th fret. So what the heck is that? Okay, now this is where the explanation comes in. This capo is essentially taking this nut of the guitar and bumping it up. Okay, that's what you're doing. You're changing the notes, but you're not changing the relationship between the notes. Okay? So, if this was your new nut, what would this be? Well, this would be an F sharp. This would be a B. This would be an E. This would be an A. This is a C sharp. And then you have another F sharp here, right? Those are these notes right here, okay? So what are the intervals? This is the perfect 4th. B to E, perfect 4th, right? Perfect 4th. E to A, perfect 4th. A to C sharp, major 3rd. C sharp to F sharp is a perfect 4th. Okay? So essentially we've taken these notes and we've bumped them all up a whole step, right? 2 half steps, 2 frets. So the relationship stays the same, but the notes have all shifted up. Okay? It's the equivalent of if you just don't use a capo at all and you take your E string, right? Your low E string, and you tune it up to an F sharp. And then you take your A string and you tune it up to a B string, right? That's what you're doing. You're raising the whole thing. Not just one note, right? Not just one string. You're raising all of it, the whole thing up. Almost down, right? So what do we have here? Well, it's the same shape as we got going on here. So let's count this out. What is this note right here? It's an A. Okay? You're on a low E string. You're on the 5th fret. That's an A. Or you could count it out like this. If this is an F sharp, this is your new nut. What's this? G, G sharp, A. That's an A. Okay, what do we have here? C sharp. Okay? This is a B. C, C sharp. Okay? Now we have our quote unquote open strings here, right? We don't have any fingers on these, but we're playing them. And the capo is here, okay? We have an E, right? We have an A. We have a C sharp. Top string, same as your low E string, right? Is another A. So, what are these in terms of an A chord? That's a regular A triad, A major triad. We have a root. We have a 3rd, a 5th, a root, a 3rd, and a root. Look familiar. Root, 3rd, 5th, root, 3rd, root, root, 3rd, 5th, root, 3rd, root. Okay? So that's the magic of the capo. If you know your root note, let's say we're playing in the key of G, okay? And you say, you know what? This would be a lot better for my voice if we just move this whole thing up a whole step, right? 2 half steps, 1 whole step. Instead of learning the chords in A, like let's just write out a phantom chord progression, right? Let's say the song says to play a 1 chord, a 4 chord, and then a 5 chord, right? Simple. Well, in the key of G, this would be G, C, D. Now, this isn't good for your voice. This is just too low, right? It's just too low. How do you move this whole thing up? Well, you could, if you don't have a capo, you transpose it, right? Let's move this to the key of A. This turns into an A chord. This turns into a D chord. This turns into an E chord. All right, that's 1, 4, 5 in the key of A. And then you say, John, that's better for my voice, but I don't really know how to play E, or I don't really know how to play the A chord yet. How do I do this? That's where the capo comes in handy, all right? Bump the whole thing up 2 frets. That's 2 half steps, and you can use the same exact shapes, okay? So when you have this capo on, you can play a G shape. And then if you play a C shape, you're actually going to be playing a D, right? Just like if you're playing a G shape, you're actually going to be playing an A. Okay, so that's the magic of the capo. It lets you transpose on the guitar without having to learn new chord shapes. Now, is it useful? Absolutely. Is it a crutch to hang on if you're trying to learn your notes, if you're trying to learn your chords? You probably shouldn't be just relying on this. You should probably learn a few more chords than just your standard 4, okay? Now, I'd be lying if I said I don't always have one on me, especially for country gigs, right? And usually I have charts written out in Roman numerals, right? So it's easy for me to transpose on the fly, but if there's a singer that says, you know what, can I just get this 1 half step higher, right? That's the difference between going from E to E flat or E to F, right? Now, I can analyze it on the fly, right? I know what chords, but is it going to be harder on my fingers if I'm playing a 4-hour set, right? Probably be easier if you just use a capo. So that's where they really come in handy. So just to recap, it's a transposition tool, and it lets you transpose on the fly without having to learn new chord shapes, okay? If you know your scales, you'll be able to transpose on the fly. Okay, I think that's enough information for today, and hopefully you learned something. As always, questions and comments, put them down in the comment section, and I love reading them, and I'll try to answer anything I can. So hopefully you had a good time, and we'll see you at the next one.